Hello, welcome back, everybody, to another year of the Sunday Podcast.
I'm Ollie Lum.
And I'm Matt Seddon.
Back in 2025 for our 5th season. You can expect more of this.
He's claiming that he was ill before the semi-final, whatever. But, you know, I just feel like at that point he was just looking for attention.
And some of this.
Elio normally say, no human is limited. So I can't limit myself, or I can't just say I can do.
As well as event coverage around all the major races on the UK circuit.
And if you're a fan of the pod, please give us a rating and review on your preferred podcast streaming service.
And if you want to stay up to date with all the latest news, give us a follow on Instagram at Sunday Podcast.
As always, thanks for listening. See you next time. And we hope you enjoyed the episode.
Hello, welcome back to another episode brought to you by sportshoes.com. As always, British champs just around the corner. I've been waiting a while for this one, obviously a bit later in the summer than usual. Next weekend, 2nd and 3rd of August in Birmingham, Matt and I will be there enjoying all the action and seeing who is on their way to Tokyo, mate. Mate, this is always kind of the best episode of the year, right? Predicting British champs and then getting slated for it.
Easily, mate. Easily the best episode of the year. I'm sitting back. I've got a beer. And yeah, I can't wait to get into it.
Absolutely. So let's just run through a bit of, I guess, housekeeping. So as I said, next weekend is the start of August, 2nd and 3rd of August. The qualifying window for the trials, for the qualifying times is the 26th of August. So athletes will have a chance to run a World Champs standard after the champs, which is unusual based off recent years. And it's the usual sort of thing, top 2 of the standard, 1 discretionary spot. So we could have situations where potentially some athletes finish in the top 2, but then have to run a standard within the next 3 weeks. Most events, though, as we will go through, there's so many athletes with a standard that's probably very unlikely.
Yeah, a lot of events, we have got enough people with the standard. It's more the opportunities. There are a few diamond leagues, but if you're someone who's trying to find a standard, chances are you're nowhere near getting into a couple of those diamond leagues. You know, you've got Celestia and Lausanne and Brussels. They are all within that window, but yeah, Brussels and Zurich are obviously the final. So you've got 2 diamond leagues to try and get into, and you're just not getting into them if you're still trying to hunt for a world standard. Ordegem, the start list for that are looking very, very good. There's another one. Obviously, they have a great meet in May, 9th of August. There's another great meet in Belgium. And yeah, the men's 5K is absolutely stacked in that one. I haven't actually got the entries in front of me, but I know, I think you could be in the B race running 13:20 or 13 teens high. It's that deep. Same with the men's steeple and probably loads of other events as well. So there are a few opportunities. There's a gold tour as well that you could potentially get into. But the difficulty is there's going to be a lot of people in the same boat, and people are going to be really searching for those world ranking points. And so those consideration standards are going to be hard to come by, especially as, you know, British athletics, they don't care about world ranking points, whereas a lot of other countries do care about world ranking points, whereas we don't. So we might have to set up. I mean, we've got the Tooting BMC. I mean, those start lists, by the way, for the Tooting BMC on the 20th of August are really coming together. I was chatting with the meet organisers the other day and had a glimpse of those start lists. They look terrific. So basically all our top 1500 metre boys, bar, you know, the real heavy hitters, the Whitemans, the Kerrs, etc., are in that race. So there's going to be an opportunity there, whether anyone could get that standard and whether it's even relevant just because the depth anyway we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I guess one thing we did chat about just before we start recording is if someone does go and finish 2nd, finish 3rd and doesn't have a standard, should it be on British Athletics to help them out and really try and get them into one of these meets over in the Diamond League? I don't know how much sway they actually have with those sorts of things, but I think that would be cool if that was the case. I'm not sure it is though.
No, I don't think they'll have any sway, but also I think it depends who it is, right? And I mean, that will all just come down to the agent getting them into those meets. I think those meetings will be interesting because it is pre the World Championships. You know, even some of the big names will have slightly different plans, so they might not want to do those big diamond leagues. They might want to drift and do an alternate event. Like if you're a 15 runner, you might want to sharpen up with a few 8s, and you might not be able to get in the diamond league, so you might look elsewhere on the World Tour circuit. So there might be a couple lanes in the diamond leagues going, but yeah, I think the bottom line is, mate, it won't be down to British Athletics to help these athletes in that situation. And if you are an athlete in that situation, chances are you are, back against the wall really, because those times, if you haven't run them already, chances of doing it when you're sort of chasing in that moment, plus trying to knock other people out of their positions is going to be difficult. The one event I think you could probably get away with it is the 800, just because you can solo an effort in the 800. You can set a race up in the 800. 1500, you need good pacing. You need pedal to the metal the whole way, and anything longer than the 1500, you need to find a really good race. Otherwise, it's going to be so difficult to get anywhere near the standard.
I think you're bang on, mate. Let's start with those 800s then. Anyway, I think on the men's side, obviously, 5 guys with the standard already, so unlikely that we're going to have to see someone chase it, but you do never know. Those men are Max Bergin, Henry Jonas, even Hussey, Justin Davies, and Callum Dodds. All accepted their entries, all got the standard. Whew, I mean, we've got the likes of Ben Patterson, obviously without a standard as well. So how are these men going to fare, mate?
Just double checking Patterson, mate. Did he run a standard last year? Mate, he didn't. What? Didn't run the standard last year. Didn't run inside. He's inside the consideration standard though, hey? So, and he'll have the world ranking points. But yeah, you're right. You know, officially, I guess Patterson in the window, which was August the 1st last year in 2024, doesn't have the official 144.5 standard, even though he ran his 142 last July. So yeah, I mean, the men's 800 is going to be very interesting. For me, Bergen dominates this race. I think Bergen has to run this race like classic Bergen style, is just front run the hell out of it, and 50 point 400 and then just real rally and close up. I think Alexander Stadium is going to produce some much faster times than we saw at Sports City. It's a better track. It's a faster track. There's going to be a better crowd. Hopefully there's a little bit more wind cover with the stadium and stuff. Yeah, so Bergen wins, no doubt, and he's just in great form. I mean, what's he run? 142 and a couple of 143s this year. I know he had that little blip at Monaco. That wasn't really on him. He cleans up this men's 800. However, it's who he can drag with him. Justin Davies is in great form, second at European Under-23s. For me, it's between Davies. It's actually, I hate to sort of go against Patterson here, but just on this season, what I've seen, that second spot for me is Henry Jonas or Justin Davies. Between one of those two. And I think it's going to depend who kind of gets in behind Bergen, because they are both very difficult men to get around. So, Jonas looked great in his heat at the under-23s, maybe a little tired in the final there. Davies front ran his heat, looked phenomenal. I mean, they both have a big stride to them, and that stride doesn't want to be checked. They need to have a smooth run. And if they can get in behind Bergen, hopefully they have that. And I honestly think it's going to be between those two for second place. And I think Patterson, he's a classy runner. We shouldn't count him out, but for me, he just wants to get in the top 3. I'm not sure Patterson he will care, but I think going into it, the season he's having, he's just going to be like, can I just get in the top 3? Because if he gets in the top 3, he'll be on the team. Even if he gets third spot, he'll be on the team, but just because of his class, his world medal in 23, he'll have time to get the standard. And anyway, he's well in on ranking points. I just quickly glance at the road to Tokyo, but I presume he'll be well in on ranking points anyway, that man.
Yeah, I guess I think this is where, obviously, I think they're quite good mates, Max Bergin and Ben Patterson as well. I think this is where if you took Bergin out of the race, Patterson fancies himself for the win, right? If it's a bit of a slower race, I think he can just stamp his authority on it a bit. But Bergin taking it out and making it quick, if he makes it a 144 race or even quicker, right? I think that's where Patterson struggles, and he might finish outside that top 3. And like you say, the guys who know how to run 144 this season, Hussey, Jonas, Davies, will be right on it. And I think that's the worry for Patterson. Has got to be, well, this race might end up being a time trial, because you've got someone like Bergen in there, and that's where he might find himself run out of it. Whereas if this was a 145, 146 race, I think, yeah, you'd be back in Patterson.
I think you're right there. And it may well be that race. We might not see a traditional Bergen, but I just don't see Bergen running this final any other way, to be honest with you. And mate, I just checked. Actually, Patterson is, I don't know why I was presuming he would be in those world ranking spot, but he's not. He's way, way down. Jesus. Yeah, he's up against it, Patterson. I think the pressure will be on him. He'll be feeling that. But he's outside the quota, hasn't hit the standard in the window, so he's got a lot to do.
He has got a lot to do, I think.
Because the 800, by the way, on the world rankings, and the points and the quota and everything like that, obviously the 800, it takes your average of 5 races, so you actually need to compete a lot. And, a year in the 800 is big, whereas a year in the 10,000, not much changes on the world rankings. Whereas a year in the 800, bloody 2 weeks in the 800, there's so much change. And yeah, that's one of the problems for
Yeah.
someone like Patterson, even though he has fantastic credentials.
Absolutely, man. Are we both counting out Hussey? Is that a bit unfair?
Yeah, I'm counting out Hussey. Yeah. Not counting him out, but I think he's in a position where he's had an amazing season. He's hit the standard, but at the end of the day, what's his record against these guys? What's his record against someone like Jonas and Patterson and Bergen? And I just can't see him being able to just break into that top three. I'm sorry. And, again, he ran, he had the perfect race at London Diamond League, and it goes back to, whoever is lucky enough to get that lane in the London Diamond League is probably going to get a standard, just the way that race is run. And it was Hussey on this occasion. So it's amazing he's come away with a fast time. But yeah, he hasn't shown sort of the ability to beat these guys. Callum Dodds is someone that we're kind of counting out here. We're overlooking. The men's 800 is stacked. There are other names here. Yeah, Hussey, Callum Dodds, Dan Rowden is obviously not in his best shape. Was he 147 this year? He's only done 3 races, hasn't raced since June, May time. Richard Manul is obviously always in good shape. He's always there or thereabouts. And then, of course, you just have loads of other guys in the mix. Finney McClear and loads of our sort of under 23s, uni students, even under 20s. You got like Ben Gardner, who's around a 145. We've got a lot of guys in the 145 range. Alex Botterill is another one. And these are guys who are just going to be a problem in the final for some of the big names. Yeah, a nuisance. Yeah, because if you are someone like Jonas and you're giving Bergen or Davies a yard, you're going to be in trouble, especially if you have to get round the likes of a Botterill or a Hussey. So I think if you're Jonas or Davies, you are praying that Bergen just takes this out and you go, right, all I've got to do is make this first 200 strong enough that I can slot in behind, and it's just a case of holding that position. You find yourself in 5th, there's a lot of work to do. And that's why I worry about Patterson, because he just hasn't quite been on it over that sort of first lap recently. And I feel like he's going to need to pay close attention. Otherwise, he's going to have a lot of bodies because we have so many men in the 144 low range.
Yeah, that's it. And his I guess his signature kick is just not quite where it used to be. And like you say, he needs to take a lot closer order. So look, I think we're both agreed. Bergen takes the win, and it's going to be an interesting race behind him. But look, mate, swing over to the women's 8, and such a contrast, right? To having 5 guys with a standard all competing, plus a load of others knocking on the door. Women's 800, we are really not sure where we're going to go. Obviously, Keely Hodgkinson won't be running. She's not going to open her season at British Champs. Does have a standard though, and we expect her to pick up that 3rd spot absolutely rightly as well, if she wants to, and if she's ready to compete in Tokyo. We got Phoebe Gill, has accepted her entry but hasn't run this year, has a standard from last year. Gemma Reekie has accepted. Georgia Hunter Bell has accepted. Again, are these women going to turn up and run the 800? We don't know. I think the one you expect to is Reekie, right? That seems to be her kind of easiest route into the Tokyo team, but who knows, mate? She might fancy the 1500 because she accepted that and she has a standard for that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting on both these 800s, by the way, mate. I think it's also worth pointing out, when we talk about people who are going to line up in the final, the men's 800 is 37 runners in 4 heats.
Someone always misses out, right? Someone always misses the British Champs final.
4 heats if a few drop out. And, it's going to be, I think last year they just did first 2, no fastest losers. So it's going to be tough to make that final. Same on the women's side. I think they're going to have possibly 3 heats there of 9 or 10. So, but yeah, you were saying you're trying to decide what event Reekie does, or what event Georgia Bell does.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Reekie's best event to make the team is the 8, but a best event at the Champs right now, having watched her run, would potentially be the 15.
For me, Reekie is just. She makes the 800, especially, and if Georgia Hunter Bell runs a 1500, I mean, you're saying she could double, and I think she could double. I think she's so far ahead I mean, we haven't seen Phoebe Gill run this year, by the way. Phoebe Gill has accepted her entry, so we hope she turns up. Obviously has a standard from the Olympics last year. Would be cool to see Phoebe Gill turn up and give it a go. I'd be worried about her if she hasn't raced, though. We're going to see a Bergen come out. It's always quite exciting when you haven't seen someone race, and you pay close attention to the heat, right? So we'll obviously be watching the heat, but if you take Georgia Bell, she could double. Looking at that 800, she comfortably comes Yeah, I think she comfortably wins it. But anyway, even if she's tired, she comfortably gets second. And the 1500, I mean, it would be a good race against her and Muir if Bell was on tired legs. But the timetable just doesn't allow it. I mean, those finals are about an hour. Are they an hour apart or something crazy? So the timetable doesn't allow it. And I think we might see. Let me get back to me on that one. I'll double check the timetable. I think usually the 1500s are the last events, aren't they? Usually. Yeah. So I guess the 800s could be. Here we are, bud. I got it here. Yeah, the double. If she was to double, the 800 would be up, mate, half an hour between them. She wouldn't even be in the call room for the 1500.
You missed the call room. Mate,
she'd have a medal presentation for the 800, and then she'd be on the 1500 start.
And they would make her as well, wouldn't they? That's the thing. They would 100% make her do it.
Yeah. I don't think that's, it's just not possible. So where do we see her? I mean, she's running so well over 800. She alluded to the fact she might be tempted to run the 800 at Worlds. So will we see her just dominate the 800? I think whichever one she chooses, she dominates.
Yeah. And I guess the thing is, it doesn't really matter. For me, she runs the 15 because that's the one where you could argue.
No. For me, the opposite. I think she has, because obviously Keely will be the wild card. Keely takes third spot.
No, but they can take more than 3. They can take more than one wild card if no one has the spots. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you would presume that Phoebe Gill and Gemma Ricci get 1 too.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
but that would fill the top 2 spots.
I was thinking, yeah, of course, yeah.
So that would fill the top 2, and then you have to give that wild card to Keely. You know, Georgia Bell could bank on winning. Imagine if she won the Diamond League final, because the Diamond League final gives you a wild card to do the 800. So these are all things that Georgia Bell is probably. But I think, she is a lock in the 1500. She's an Olympic bronze medalist. Yeah. She is an absolute lock in the 1500, and she would be given that wild card in the 1500. So if she does want to double or potentially leave the door open to do the 800 at champs, at world champs, that is, I think she probably has to run the 800 at trials. And so that's why I think we might see her do the 800 at trials.
I think she, yeah. No. I was getting my numbers muddled for selection there. Yeah, mate, I think you're bang on. I think I don't think she's definitely going to do the 8, but I don't think she's deciding right now to not do the 8. So I think she has to run the 8, yeah. Like you say, I don't think she can bank on winning the Diamond League final. I think she probably will, but I don't think you wouldn't leave yourself to have to do that unless she knows that Keely's not going to run the World Champs 800 regardless. So,
well, she got Keely's announced for the Diamond League in Lausanne now. So
mate, she's been announced for meets all season.
She has been announced for meets all season.
Yeah, the whole Keely Classic, mate. So I don't think that means anything, because that would be the thing, mate. I guess if in the group, right, they're saying, well, we're only going to have Georgia or Keely in the 800, then she can just wait and not run the 8, because she knows, well, either Keely's going to get it and then I'm running the 15 anyway, or if Keely doesn't get it, then I'll be able to have it. If they've decided they're not going to race against each other.
Yeah.
In the group.
Yeah. It would be, it's going to be a tricky one. Just looking on the selection policy as well, 2023 World Championships individual medalists do take priority, and then World Athletics wildcards, which is obviously like Diamond League winner, defending champ, and then obviously 2024 Olympic Games as well. Someone like Patterson, just going back to Patterson, sorry, he is in the driving seat, even though he's not in the thing is, you would have to be in the World, Patterson, in order to get an invite by World Athletics, wouldn't he have to be in the Road to Tokyo quota? Because surely so the way I understand it, World Athletics, despite even Patterson's performances over in 2023, and the fact that British Athletics would want to take him, he's not in the quota. So World Athletics wouldn't give him an invite.
Yeah, possible. And I think even British Athletics says you need the discretionary standard and to be in the quota.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. That is a rare case. Fucking hell.
Yeah. I mean, you could, Patterson, say he won British champs in a slow race, he'd get a whole load of ranking points for when he's a national champ.
Yeah. I mean, there is the thing is with the 800, there is every chance that these people, so the men's 800, there is every chance. I mean, we see Bergen run a 142. There is every chance that whole race is 144. But, I think if you finish in the top 3 at the British Champs, you're probably going to be inside the standard. given the fact Bergen's in the racing, given the fact that's how he likes to run. So yeah, I was just double checking his selection policy here as well. That yeah, you obviously need to be eligible to go to the world champs in order to be considered with that world medal. So yeah, right. Anyway, yeah, so women's 800, Georgia Hunter-Bell, I think she prioritizes the 800. She knows the 1500, that spot is hers. There's no questions asked about it. She's great. And, it's going to be down to the likes of Laura Muir and others to perform in that 1500 to fight for what will be effectively one automatic spot there.
Yeah. And so then for second place, it's a shootout between Ricky and Gil, knowing that Keely's coming in. And that's then... It's not an easy ride into British champs, is it?
Well, and again, I think Georgia Bell will completely back her kick. And I can't see, unlike Bergen, you can almost rely on this guy taking it out hard. I don't think you can do that with the women's 800. I think Georgia Bell wins this race whichever way she likes, and she could go, do you know what? I want to gain some championship experience in the 800. I haven't run a tactical 800 really. So I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let it go through in 61, 62 at halfway and see what I can do over the last lap. And then that really does put the pressure on the likes of Riki when you factor in someone like Gil, but also you've got Boffy. Katie Snowden, by the way, is the same as Georgia Hunter-Bell in the fact that she's accepted in the 8 and the 15. And she has the 8 time from last year and the 15 time from last year. And she might go, the 800 looks a little easy. Maybe. It looks like potentially an easier route. Who knows? So, you got Abby Ives as well, obviously great European under-23s medaling there. You've got Ava Lloyd, who I think is the same, accepted in the 8 and the 15. So you've got other women who can obviously challenge. To be honest, too bad Shakira King's going to the under-20 European Championships because she is running exceptionally well. When she ran her 2 flat at Watford, it was a messy race. I think she's a 1:59 runner comfortably. And yeah, she would really cause a few problems at that championship race, I think.
Hey, you never know, mate. If she goes and runs a stand at the champs and then Keely's not doing it because she's just not ready, then you never know. She might get a late call up.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I can't see that happening, but yeah, you're right. She is, she could go win. I think she might win the European under-20s. No problems there. And yeah, might run sub 2. We'll see. So yeah, that's the women's 800. I mean, I think that's all the big names mentioned there.
Yeah. Swing over to the men's 15 and mate, I'm gutted, to be honest. Yet again, every year this race lets me down.
What's let you down about it? No George Mills.
Every year we're always like, we're the best 1500 meter nation in the world. Our British champs is insane. And then yet again, no one's running. It's just not the race it could be, mate. It'll be good, but I think it's just a bit of a shame, right? So let's talk through it. So the guys who have the standard and are running, Elliot Giles, Jake Whiteman, and Neil Gawley. We did have to double check. So Neil Gawley actually has the mile time. So that's
indoors.
Yeah, so that's what got him in. Obviously he's of that level. So not an issue there anyway. The guys who have a standard who aren't running, Josh Kerr and George Mills. So Josh Kerr running the 5K has an auto entry anyway, so actually doesn't really affect the race. 3 guys can go in addition to him. And then George Mills not running, broke his wrist after his fall over in the Diamond League.
Yeah, so he's out, which is a big shame. That you were pretty pissed, mate, because you're like, that's it. He'll be selected in the 15 in the 8, 15 in the 5, which he will.
It's easy way out. Again,
giving him a hard time. I tell you, gave him a hard time. If anyone's a big fan of the Coffee Club podcast, they gave Mills a real hard time, those boys, and they're OAC through and through.
Man, we had someone comment on our Diamond League review as well. They were not.
They're saying Mills should. The Coffee Club boys saying Mills should be. It should be like cycling. They analyze the amount of crashes, the amount of falls he causes, and he should have a yellow card. He should be banned for X amount of races. I thought, fucking hell, these boys are supposed to be, part of the same brand. They have the same boss. But yeah, there you go. So anyway, yeah, Mills is out of British champs, which is a big shame because, I do always think where Mills is, there is a story and there is some entertainment in that and some theatre and some drama. And I do respect Mills for that.
It's good entertainment. Don't get me wrong. Like that's what I mean. I'm complaining he's not there. I'm upset.
Kerr would have been the race of the weekend for me. Him v Kerr would have been the race of the weekend in the 5,000 if they both lined up.
And I'd have liked some theatrics around that as well. That'd have been good. But what I'd really
they're both big personalities.
yeah,
There
what I'd really like to see was Mills, Kerr, Giles, Whiteman, and Gawley all going at it. To be honest,
Well, I actually think right now is, Kerr does talk a big game, but I think he's looking good. I mean, I was backing Hocker to win the world champs, which, to be fair, he's still on course for. He's actually running better than he was last year when he won the Olympics, if you look at his times and some of his results and stuff. So I still think Hocker could do the business and win the world champs, but Kerr is just looking like a bit of a Donny at the moment. I know he got beat the other day, but it's still 8 weeks till Tokyo. And I think he would have cleaned up the British champs, to be honest.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not saying he wouldn't. I think it'd be a great race if he was in it. And I get why he's doing the 5, but I think it would just be cool to see them all match up. So yeah, mate, the only way they don't pick Mills is if Whiteman comes third.
Whoa, Whiteman would have to come third, and then yeah, you would have to have someone like Gawley and Giles come. Mate, if Giles gets top 2, that causes problems.
That's what I'm saying. So if it goes Gawley, Giles, Whiteman, then they've got to pick between Whiteman and Mills for the third spot.
Yeah, which they in that scenario though, mate, I think it easily goes to Whiteman. Whiteman is a world champion, although it was 3 years ago. Whiteman's been running well, and Mills is already doing the 5K. So I think they just shut it down and they say, Mills, you're not doubling, you're doing the 5K. Yeah. So that, I think actually that is an easy situation for them there. But yeah, you're right. I mean,
any other way around, they pick Mills on the third spot.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm actually more excited for the men's 1500 heats. You say the front end might not be as exciting as what it could be, obviously, because we're missing a few names. But for me, the heats are going to be so fascinating because I was stunned. I was chatting at training the other day and I was like, usually about 340 is about 20th in the country, something like that. 340.9 ranks you first in the country. That is just ridiculous. The stat, it's bonkers. And so on that, 92 men were invited to the British champs, but only 38 accept. Given some of those might be 800 runners, and obviously they're doing the 800. Some of them might be 5K runners, and so obviously they're doing the 5K. But I think it's pretty. I mean, they would have needed semi-finals if they had 92 entries. But I'm just wondering who's out there getting a British champs invite in the 1500 meters and going, nah. Don't fancy.
I know, yeah.
But it's all events. When you look at the invite to accepted ratio, you're about 50%. If that. What? At women's 800, 56 invited, 28 accept. Men's 800, 74 invited, 37 accept. I mean, men's 5K, 62 invited. I mean, crikey, British athletics. Imagine if all 62 had accepted that. They'd be in a C race. Anyway, but 28 accept. It's weird. And it always, and what it comes down to is just like those people who are, I think it comes down to those in the middle who are just like, well, I'm probably not going to, I'm not going to feature towards the front in the final. I'm probably going to be hard pushed to make the final, but it's not my first British champs either. And you know what? I just can't be arsed with it. And which I think is a real shame because, Alexander Stadium is an amazing stadium. It's the British Championships. I mean, what the hell are you racing for if you're not going to accept an invite to British champs?
I agree, mate. I agree.
What are you training for?
Yeah. And why wouldn't you want to see where you match up? Because
and also
it's more important
that would be hilarious.
12th in the British champs. Then you can say you're 12th in the UK, not if you're 12th on Para 10. It's way more important to just get those spots.
And I get it, people get injured, and actually, to be fair, like a lot of people do cross over in events, right? If you've run a 146 800, chances are you run a 338 1500, something in that realm. So there's a lot of crossover there, but there are also a lot of people who just aren't, just not interested in doing the British champs, which I think is a shame. Yeah, so back to the pointy end of the race then. By the way, Sam Charig, for me, is a bit of a dark horse, closed up in 38 high, 39 low, his last 352 or so last lap at World Juniors, got a bronze medal, huge run for him. I think when you look at the final, there's going to be some pretty big people who miss out. It's between Whiteman and Gawley and Giles, and actually at the moment you would heavily favour Whiteman, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think so. I think Whiteman destroys this race, actually. I just think, especially you take Mills out and you take Kerr out, no one's front running it, and then no one's doing the Kerr long kick for home either, except Whiteman himself. Not a long kick, but he's going at 300 versus Gawley and Giles, who would happily wait till 50 to go. I just don't see them beating him in that sort of race right now.
No, I mean, Wyman put Giles away at the Diamond League, and Giles has run well this year, but his 800 is a bit down on probably where it should be. And yeah, he's run a 349 mile and a 331 1500 this year, but I just kind of back Wyman in that championship. And Gawley, for one reason or another, is just not firing at the moment.
It's just not clicking. But you'd back him to come second. That's the thing. Like, he just always, he always gets it done at British Champs. He always does what he needs to do. He always does what he needs to do.
He got unlucky. He got unlucky at London Diamond League. I think that fall, obviously, Gawley did get quite caught up in that, to be fair. So, but I know when we spoke to him, do you remember after indoors, going into that first Grand Slam at Kingston or either, I think it was just after Grand Slam at Kingston, he was a little injured then. So he was taking a little bit of time just to reset. So I think he has had a bit of a slower start to the season.
He'll get there, I think. I think he's one of the guys. Like, he'll make sure he's on a plane, and then, like you say, you've got plenty of time to. Well,
that's one of the things about like the men's 8. When you look at, if you're a selector and you look at someone like Patterson versus Jonas, for example, Henry Jonas is like, he was ripping up in bucks, like in April, May, and he's done under 23s. He's had so many races. Whereas you look at Patterson and, he's proven he can do it on a major stage and he's progressing. If he continues to progress, would he be favoured in that situation? It's going to be difficult. Spending a lot of time on the men's 800, sorry mate. But I feel like that's where the storyline, that is probably one of the hardest ones to pick for the selectors. Yep, so there we are, men's 1500 there. We got a few others in there to look out for. Tom Keane, Adam Fogg, who just doesn't seem to be at his best at the moment. Archie Davies is having a good season. George Cootie, again, has been slow this outdoor. Obviously, he's coming back off an injury, so just be good to see him sort of make the final and compete there. Joe Wigfield, we know he's always good at over the 1500, although in a championship setting, questionable. Ted Higgins, he's had a good year. We've got a bunch of guys sub 340, so there's those heats for me are probably going to be the most exciting part of that men's 15.
Yeah,
where are we? Women's 15?
Mate, we're over to women's 15, and I was just thinking maybe we haven't disagreed yet, which is a new one. So we'll see how I get on with this women's 1500. Okay, women with the standard this year, Georgia Hunter-Bell and Gemma Reekie, who we've mentioned already. We think they'll both run the 800, but mate, again, I just think, especially if Bell runs the 8, this might be a cleaner chance for Reekie, to be honest. But anyway, then Snowden, Walcott-Nolan, Courtney Bryant, and Muir all have the 1500 meter standard from last year. So haven't been quite their best this year, but if they find themselves in the top 2, they are going. We take Bell and Reekie out of that. What lands, mate? Who lands on top of that pile?
Well, I don't think Courtney Bryant is going to do the 1500. She has to do the 5K, given the fact Nuttall, Keith, and Fitzgerald ran so well the other day, and yeah, she has to go prove herself in the 5K and prove that she can beat the likes of, book her spot basically by finishing top 2, either beat Nuttall, beat Fitzgerald, or beat Keith, whichever one. So I don't think we're going to see Courtney Bryant line up. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see Hunter Bell line up for the 1500, to be honest.
And Reekie as well. No, Reekie will be in the 8 as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like Reekie has to go get the job done over the 800. I think she will. It's an event that she's very... Look, Gemma Reekie at the British Champs 800 meters is very, very comfortable. Like, okay, sometimes she hasn't always won, but she is so comfortable getting through the rounds. And I think she's got such a good record against a lot of the women in the field. And that counts. Like, in this game, knowing that mentally you can beat X, Y, and Z 9 times out of 10 is a big, big confidence boost. And she knows how to just get the job done at British Champs. Okay, last year, Phoebe Gill ends up running away with it, but Reekie, she books her place, she comes second, and I think she'll look at that, whereas, she'll look at racing against Walcott Nolan potentially and Laura Muir, and she'll probably be a bit like, oh, do I back myself in that situation? And Katie Snowden as well.
Again, you mentioned as well, Snowden could run the 8 instead.
She could run the 8 as well. I think this will all become...
This 800, 1500 crossover. I wonder if any of these athletes are going to pull out, make a statement, or we're just going to have to wait and see. Usually with British Champs, we're just waiting and seeing, aren't we? And then listening for the rumours. If anyone listening actually does have the inside scoop, let us know.
Or keep it yourself, because we have got the prediction contest coming out. We think.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say how much the prize money is? But there is prize money in sports shoes vouchers for the prediction contest. And yeah, let's see who knows their stuff. Let's see who the winner of 2025 is going to be at the British Champs. We'll be predicting the winners of every distance event, going from 800 all the way up to 5K. 15 is steeple in there as well. Yeah, and I think back to this women's 15 again, it's a little bit like the men's. I think actually the 1-2 is fairly straightforward for me. It's, you know, if Hunter Bell and Riki don't show, and probably Courtney Bryant doesn't show, it's going to be Reve, Walcott Nolan, and Laura Muir. Katie Snowden just hasn't looked at the races.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I think I actually have no idea. I don't know who I'm going to put in my prediction contest for this one, to be honest. I think those three are closer than you think this season.
No, they are. And actually, you know, Snowden has actually run faster than Reve, but I think it's the races. You know, Snowden ran her 4.2 in a Rome in the Rome Diamond League, and for me, it's what Snowden's doing over 800, which I think is important, and just hasn't quite looked as strong. And then, you know, yeah,
Laura Muir
in the Diamond League,
season's best is 408.
Just didn't feature. Yeah, Muir will be okay though. I gotta admit, you'd be a bit worried, wouldn't
you? Would, mate. That's if Muir runs, mate. There's a world again where
she will run. She'll have to run. She said she's doing the 1500. I think she said she's doing the 1500 at the interview after post Diamond League. Post London Diamond League. So yeah, Muir is doing the 1500. And so she'll run and she'll just run to win. And I think it's quite refreshing for her because actually she almost goes into this race as not really the favourite, like on an equal playing field with Walcott Nolan and Snowden if Snowden does it. But yeah, for me the London Diamond League, Walcott Nolan was way ahead of Katie Snowden and just has just been racing a little bit more consistently. Again, hasn't been the Walcott Nolan we saw of 2024, but racing a lot more consistently.
So I'm going to back Snowden, mate, in that women's 15, I think.
Well, there we go then. Other athletes to look out for. Ava Lloyd, again, she's obviously had a great European under-23s campaign. I'm just trying to see who else have we got in here. Carrie Hughes is in there as well. Ellie Leather is in there as well. She's a low 4. She's like a 4-6 runner. Erin Wallace is in there, mate. We have glossed over Erin Wallace big time. Jesus. We've had a stinker. Erin Wallace could feature in that women's 1500, and she's running well over the 800 and the 1500. You just associate Erin Wallace with the 800 though. But she is knocking on the door of that 1500 time of 4:01.5. What is she, a 4:02 runner? She's a 4:02 high runner. So, but the consideration standard is actually she's got it's 4:02.9. By the way, a consideration standard. However.
So tactical race might find herself in there.
Yeah, I mean, the point of this podcast, right, is to educate everyone taking part in the prediction contest the best we can. But, you know, Wallace, it would be big for Wallace to get a medal and get on the podium because that would boost her up the world rankings points and put her in with a shout of actually going. Because at the moment, she's not in the quota. So would be very hard for her to, near impossible for her to go to the World Champs unless she does get that 401. Which, Wallace, earlier we were talking about people who are going to struggle for races. She's probably someone who actually could get in those races we're talking about. Erin Wallace will be able to make a Diamond League just because of the Trevor Painted connections and the M11 and X, Y, and Z. So, if there's a 1500 Diamond League, you're probably like, Wallace could probably get in that. So if she does get in the top 3, she could go chase that standard.
Yeah, or her teammate could just pace her quite easily. Anyway.
Yeah, real talk.
If Georgia Hunter-Bell fancies that.
Yeah. So, women's 1500, bish bash bosh. Jess Bailey's in there. She's accepted. She accepted in the 5 as well. I don't think so. Have a look. Yeah, she's just in the 1500, so it'd be cool to see her race. 1500. Anyway, let's move on. 5K.
Oh, steeplechase.
Oh, steeplechase. Yeah, we'll save the 5K till last.
Steeplechase, usual story, to be honest, is a bit of a shame. Men's 3,000 metre steeplechase, no lads with a standard. Usual suspects will all be in contention for the medals. But yeah, again, can't see anyone going to the champs, right?
To be fair, to the men's steeple, like all these lads, Batterstill, my brother, Pierce, Norman, they're tackling life at the moment. And I actually think it's great after what they did last year, pacing, Norman came very close, ran the championship best performance. Batterstill ran well as well on that occasion. He came away with a good time. And like, I just think after what they did last year, you know, to still have these guys coming at it again. And, you know, I think it would
They're
have been
running
easy.
surprisingly well this year.
They're actually all running. They're actually all running pretty decent as well. You know, I think that is another thing. They've all put out some pretty strong times, and they're almost going under the radar a little bit in the men's steeple. Like Batterstill leads the way, by the way, in 8:21. Mark Pierce 8:23. He's very, you know, he's getting closer and closer to his best. My brother's around 8:25. Phil Norman hasn't done a 3K steeple, but he's done a really good 2K steeple. What do you run? I want to say he did an NEL. 520 something, 20 mid maybe for the 2K steeple. Can't quite remember off the top of my head, but they are running well. And so I could see a scenario where all of these guys get down towards that sort of 820 mark if it's, you know, if they get after it at British Champs. If they don't get after it at British Champs, I think there's just going to be a good race play out anyway for them. But yeah, they continue to be a bit of a class above the others in there. I mean, Tommy Bridger, I think, is done for the season after that fall in there at the Europeans. His ACL's done, which is a big shame. Yeah, unfortunate for Tommy Bridger, but I don't think we're going to see him line up in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, which, you know, looking at it the way he started this year with the Bucks record and, you know, just running exceptionally well over 1,500, he was kind of like going to be one of the next guys. And then Christian Imhoff as well, who had such a good NCAA campaign, ran 8:30 and unfortunately fell in the final day. I was like, maybe we're going to see him really step up British Champs. But again, he unfortunately isn't doing British Champs, which I understand and presume he's going back to America, is he? But so there's that. But a man that we should probably shout out is Stephen Kerfoot, who ran 8:49 at World Juniors. Big run from him there, coached by Carl up at Loughborough. So he's had a big PB, and he's been, you know, off the back, a guy who ran, to put it into context, guy who ran 9:06 at Bucks in his steeple is now running 8:49, which is huge. So yeah, men's steeple, I think that is a tricky one to call. And when it comes to the prediction contest, it's like,
it's always the one that catches us out.
It's always the one that catches out. Who do you choose, mate? Like, you know, it's that, yeah, that is a difficult one. I mean, you know, Batterstill is the fastest on paper, but I'd probably say he's the one who's sort of been going, you know, getting after it a little bit more this. Yeah, he's been getting after the races a little bit more this year. And, you know, Mark Pierce is, again, he actually is probably, well, he ran his 8:23 recently, early July, so he probably comes into this in, you know, if he's kicked on from that in really good shape, whereas Batterstill ran his 8:21 a month or so ago now. It'd be 6 weeks ago by the time trials rolls around. And Phil Norman, I mean, you potentially back him, like, just because of last year.
Yeah, he's got the kind of the experience of winning that race.
What they all have. They're all winners, mate. They're all winners. They've all took the dub. So
more recently, Norman has been
obviously more recently, yeah. So
hey, we'll leave that up to the listeners.
They all ran a PB last year. Norman 8:18, my brother 8:20, Pierce 8:20, Batterstill 8:21. So.
Hey, we'll just lock in Zach then. We'll back Zach.
Yeah, we'll probably back Zach in that scenario. I mean, he ran a very close to 1,500 PB on Wednesday, churning out some good sessions. He's going to run AutoGem on the 9th of August, which I think a lot of them will be in. Just have a good run. Just, you know, just tick over a bit this year before trying to get back on it for Euros and stuff next year. Like I said, it's been tough for those steeplers, just constantly like trying to chase standard after standard after standard, year in, year out. And, you know, Norman is, we know the sort of circumstance he's in, working full time, Batterstill and Pierce, you know, doing as much as they can, juggling families and work and everything like that. And yeah, my brother as well now. I've got a little baby niece. So yeah, men's 3K steeple. So Kerfoot's the one to look out for. Sam Costley as well. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll see Bridger. But 13 in that one. Good numbers. Women's steeple to run away for Elise Dorner. Absolute runaway. Emily Parker, though, to be fair, she's having a great season. She's PB'd over every distance. Went to World Juniors. Just missed out on the medals at World Juniors. So, Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Elise Dorner's just having a season of her life. And again, it's a little bit like, do you remember when you see Lizzie Bird do the trials and it was like almost just
Runs around and runs
it's
around.
almost just like a little bit, yeah. And she actually, Elise Dorner did it last year. So this is a good chance for just, Emily Parker just to get used to doing the trials and getting involved. She's had some good experience at championship races this year, Bucks and World Juniors. So, World Juniors, under 23s. Am I getting mixed up between the two? Anyway, Elise Dorner is going to have to be the Lizzie Bird this year and just get the job done and get round 7.5 laps.
It will be her
no
first
problems.
title as well. It will be her first British Champs win if she does it, of course. So I'm sure that will. She got a silver and she got a bronze. So hopefully she can upgrade that to gold. We expect her to. And then I think the main thing for someone like Elise Dorner is what can she do at the Champs, right? What kind of shape can she get herself in to try and go and like make a final and then see what she can do.
Yeah, for her, I mean, I think Elise Dorner will just want to box this off and straight up to altitude wherever she needs to go and prepare for this. And she's someone who's probably going to be in a diamond league. Just to confirm, Emily Parker, she did the 5,000 at World Juniors, and fifth under 20. That's where I saw her race the under 23s. I'm getting in a bit of a muddle, mate. The under 23s and the World Juniors been sort of happening a week apart and very similar athletes crossing over. But World Juniors, by the way, has been terrific and seems like a lot of nations have taken it really seriously this year. The crowd have been good. The venue's been great in Germany. And a lot of the athletes really high caliber going there. And I think that's an event that I hope the next time it comes around that, England Athletics and Bucks and everything like that make a little bit more of a song and dance about it at the start of the academic year in September, October time, because it definitely looks like Birmingham Uni. They were so switched on when it came to World Juniors. They knew the selection policy, they knew the criteria, and they knew they were going to have to pay, north of £1,000 to go compete out there. And, so even some great stories. Someone like Ben Gardner was working in Sainsbury's and a running shop to save up and fund the World Juniors trip. And he knew he had to get the job done on the track, which he did. The men's 800 semis, I think, are tonight. But it looks like it's an event, mate. What I'm trying to say is it's an event that is really, really growing. And I think we need to make a bit more of a meal of it in this country to encourage those university students, to just push for it. And the qualification needs to be a lot more public and transparent. And it was, to be fair, like Hayley Hemmings did a great job at England Athletics, but I think it's probably a lot of people as well.
It's the cross country one that in the past has been a bit.
That's really weird. Right? Yeah, the cross one. I mean,
it's like first across the line if you've expressed interest. And they don't.
Well, they're all if you express interest, which again, I think the expression of interest was in May time. So if you hadn't put yourself forward, to say,
and also if you're an athlete whose university is not aware of these things, right? Say you're a fresher at some random uni, but you're actually quite decent, and you kind of have a bit of a breakout run, particularly in cross, right? You could get yourself like a top 8 finish without realizing World Unis is a thing. But I think also, pushing people to be more aware, also pushing universities to kind of help fund their athletes, as well.
Which I think a lot did.
Yeah, a lot do. But I think just making sure that, all of them do. Mate, one person we haven't mentioned in that women's steeple, Sarah Tate, actually second on the rankings, 9:27, ran her time out in the NCAA. So Rana and Eugene came fourth back in June at the NCAA champs, 9:27. So she will be running at she's at West Virginia Uni, and she'll be running British champs over the steeple. Yeah,
the only I guess reservations I have on Sarah Tate is we haven't seen too much of her since the NCAAs, which is obviously expected. I guess that is a long season. But she will be running British champs. She ran a 9:34, did she? Out in America as well, which is another good performance. So I guess she will definitely challenge. We saw her do the Euro team champs as well, but she'll challenge. But I don't think she's going to get on terms with Elise Dorner really in that one. But you're right. We have missed her off the list when it comes to challenging someone like Emily Parker and those in there. So, but 15 to have a sort of 15-second cushion over, or at least 10-12 second cushion over a steeple is quite a lot, mate.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And of course, only 7 women in that race as well. So things are going to be...
Which makes for an interesting dynamic, doesn't it? Like, and it does, and I think that's the problem Lizzie Bird's had in the past. It's like, well, what do you do? Do you just run this one out, or do you just sit and be patient and just get it done and just get over the hurdles safely and just rumble the last K or so? And, it is an interesting dynamic. And potentially, Tate could, I don't think she's going to want to push this on and take it up, is she? But yeah, she could make Thorna work for it.
Yeah, perhaps. And I think, for Thorna, she's not going to want to run any quicker than she has to, so she will just sit there. So, either Tate or Parker, they're going to have to make something move a little bit, unless they want to open it up to a load of other women as well. But, that pretty much wraps up the steeples. Thorna, obviously, with the standard, and we're kind of in agreement, as I'm sure we all are around that victory. But let's swing over to the men's 5K. Again, we'll mention it. We could have seen the George Mills v Josh Kerr battle. Not going to see that with Mills not in it, but it's going to be interesting to see how Kerr cracks on with the rest of our domestic 5K lads. I think, mate, to be honest, I think he's going to absolutely destroy this field.
Of course he is. Because it won't put him under stress. And actually, Kerr's track record over the 5,000 is not amazing. It's really not. So you could potentially put Kerr under stress in this 5,000 if you were to set off 13:10. I think you could potentially make him work for it a little bit. I mean, when did he run? I can't remember when he ran his 5,000s. He hasn't run one in a couple of years, right? But they've never gone amazingly. For example, the year he got a medal in Tokyo, he was maybe 13:20 something over 5,000, and he's not doing many of them, is he? But he still ran 3:30, 3:29 that year to get his medal in Tokyo, and he's never been great over the 5,000. So you could ask the question of Kerr if you were to run a sort of 13:10, 13:15 tempo, and I think that would make him work for it. You're not gonna, but then again, you're not gonna outrun him, are you? I mean, the guy's just a beast, and you'd have to start running some 12:50, 12:55 pace to outrun this guy and make him work. But I think in doing so, you would put yourself clear. And the people we're talking about who could potentially do this, Scott Beattie, although his time is in Boston and he hasn't really backed that up, which I guess is very difficult. We know how Boston is just so quick, and your time is 10, 15 seconds quicker in Boston than anywhere else. It would have been Mills. Obviously, we're not going to see him, and the only other guy you sort of look at is potentially James West, but again, he just hasn't been showing the form over the 5,000 to be able to front run, and we know he'll back his kick in this situation. But it's funny, Westy's always been the man who holds all the cards when it comes to the men's 5K. Like they could never outrun him and they could never outkick him. But then now it's kind of like, well, Kerr's come along, so what does Westy do? Is he the one who tries to string it out from a K?
Yeah.
Is he the one who strings it out from 1,200 now? Or does he back himself, leaving it as long as possible and trying to get round, and trying to beat Kerr? It's probably not going to happen either in a flat 400-meter sprint, is it, between Westy and Kerr, or a flat 200 meters? So, yeah, I would like to see some of them maybe just work for it a little bit, but I did a bit of history.
There's enough of them in there to make it decent, but I still think, look, Kerr's going to be in 13:20 shape, there or thereabouts, in a proper race, right? And it's just like, none of them can really beat that. No. That's the thing. Like,
they're not showing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we're comparing these guys, unfortunately, against one of the best 1,500 meter runners in the world. So they are still incredible athletes, but they're just unfortunately, they're just up against a beast. You know who I backed to come second in this race over West is I backed Will Barnacle to come second in this race over James West. That is a bold claim. However, mate, he's up against Nick Griggs and Niels Laros in the under 23s. He takes down that 1,500 A race at Watford, and I don't think we've seen the best of Barnacle this year. And I think he's going to come at the
I agree, mate. We never see the best.
Yeah, we actually. I would. He just always feel like he's got more, and he's going to come at the British champs, and he's going to turn a few heads. He can get the job done. I think he's going to beat James West. He's going to beat Rory Leonard. He's going to beat Henry McLuckie. He's going to beat Scott Beattie. I do feel like we have potentially a little bit of bias towards Barnacle. I don't know what it is about that guy, but I'm always like, he's just a bit of a.
I think you can just see it, freak. Mate. I think you can.
Yeah, I think you can when he races, right? You're just like, yeah, this guy's got it. He's got it. Yeah. So, Yeah, I guess there is a bit of that. We're putting the pressure on Barnacle here, but I do look at it and I'm like, there are so many guys who are, basically next to Kerr, next behind Kerr, who have Henry McCluskey, by the way, is having a great season. He's run exceptionally well over 3,000. He's winning races over 1,500. He's run 334 over 1,500. And actually, he's looking really strong. And so I would love to see, McCluskey just sort of start to show a bit of a presence at this level and really sort of get after it. And he could go get that silver medal and challenge things. He has the ability. McCluskey, by the way, did a lot of front running in his 1,500s. I saw him run a 335, saw him run a 334. In both occasions, he did a lot of front running. He sort of pushed on from far out. He's 737 at 3,000 over in Ireland as well. He is someone who could drill this last mile and sort of really break the field up and stretch the field out over the last mile and cause problems for someone like, Leonard, Scott Beattie, Wheeler, like those sorts of guys. Hey, mate, someone we should mention, Harry Wakefield. We spoke to him on the podcast. What a story, by the way. That one's going to come out. We haven't quite decided when we're going to release it yet, but his story is ridiculous. He is an incredible athlete, and can't wait to see what he does at British Champs. Kind of goes in a bit under the radar, but potentially not forever.
Yeah, not forever, mate. I think
improving every year.
Who knows with that guy? I think he's following a bit of a weird trajectory. Obviously coming to the sport late, and so look, mate, I wouldn't bet against him. Kind of taking it even further than he has already. So yeah, mate, this 5K is going to be interesting, as you said. To be honest, mate, my dream scenario is we got two Wheeler boys, finally both of them in all right shape, and they just start messing around at the front of this race. But we will see. We'll speak to our social media man George and try and get him to do some match fixing for us, but we'll see.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's good to see them both running well again. Yeah, they're posting some good performances. Dave Malarkey is a man we should potentially highlight. Obviously, coming over from NAU, had a good season in the NCA, got silver at the World Juniors over the 10,000 and over the 5,000. However, that's a big week for him. He's done a double over the 5 and the 10 at World Juniors and British Champs next week.
He's the one that once he graduates, you see him drop the times, right? I think it's just too hard to do it.
You say once he graduates, he's been at NAU. He's been at NAU. I think
I'm saying he's on a domestic scene because it's just too long a season, right? That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'm saying when he can actually focus on the British Champs, that's when you'll see the benefits of being in America for so long.
Yeah. See what Malarkey can do. I mean, 27.51 over 10K on the track, so it's legit. So you run over the 5K this year, mate. 13.23, but
I think you're never going to have a good sort of like British Champs, really, in like compared to your level if you've done
the NCAAs, and World Juniors and X, Y, and Z, yeah. So. But they had heats for the 5,000 as well. So given even the final was one in 15:02. They were 6:47 at 2K, 3:16 and then 6:47. They ran a 3:30K. It was crawling. But yes, he's had a busy week, so it'd be good to see what he can do. I mean, my dream scenario, mate, is Richard Slade takes a dub. He's toe for toe with Josh Kerr, stretches it out. Kerr can't live with him. See you later.
Well, mate, speaking of Malarkey, though, he raced a cross race in Flagstaff on the 31st of August.
Yeah, so good, isn't it? So good.
So he literally has not stopped since then.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah, you raced the cross race in August. He then was indoors in December after NCA Cross, and he's just been clipping away.
Wait, what did he run in December then?
13:30.
27.51 in April. Jesus, yeah. 13.23 in February. 13.28 at the NCAA Champs. He was 10th there. That's a good run, actually. 10th at the NCAAs in the 5,000s.
That's what I mean. Once he finishes up there, then we'll see. I think
7.41. Yeah, 7.41, 3,000.
Can lock in on a British Champs or not going to stand.
A few others to mention in that 5K then, mate. Jack Kavanagh, by the way, won the England Champs. Ran 14.02 at the England Champs. Broke the National League record the other day, 7.58 for the 3,000, which is pretty good because the front runner 7.58 is pretty good. So he's coming in to the British Champs in pretty strong form. Kavanagh on the England Champs. 3 men in the senior men's 1,500. Entries were down at the England Champs. Difficult when it's the week before the British Champs.
It's bonkers, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't mind wouldn't mind if all the people declining these British champ spots were doing it because they were focusing on England champs because they can actually medal. That's then like an all right reason.
Weird, you know?
You know?
Yeah, I just think, what are you doing BMCs for if you're not going to do British champs? Strange one. Anyway, I think there is a lot of, I think we're probably being a bit harsh because I think there is a lot of crossover, but actually a lot of people have accepted in both anyway. So that crossover argument, a little bit relevant. Right, mate. Let's move. Women's. So, men's 5,000. I think if it comes to the prediction contest, everyone is going to put Josh Kerr. We usually do the, what do we refer to it as? The tiebreaker or the
the tiebreaker.
Predict the time. What event should we choose this year to predict the winning time? 800 to too close. We usually do the 5K because that's the one where the winning time can vary the most. However, I went back and did some analysis over the last few years. I mean, you're going to be pretty close if you guess between 13:35 and 13:38 because, it's usually won in about that mark. We're about a 5:50 first 2K and then they just build over the last 3K. Over the last 5 years, that's been how British Champs has been run, basically.
Yeah, maybe we should do it on someone's time, like Josh Kerr's time in the 5K.
Well, that's basically who wins the 5K.
True. But you could end up with, then people could get, or you go like Georgia Bell's time in the 1500 and then people are putting DNS.
Yeah, and that's the mate, let's just do the women's 5K. The women's 5K, I think, is a little bit more up in the air because is it going to be fast? Is it going to be tactical? I think it's a little...
Women's 5,000 will be the tiebreaker, and let's talk through that event now. Mate, it's also the one where there is a lot of people with a standard, right?
Four
Nuttall,
women with the standard.
Ines Fitzgerald and Megan Keith, Melissa Courtney Bryant, and then we should shout out Izzy Fry's in there as well with no standard. But I'm sure she'll be there and competing and getting right stuck in amongst those women.
Yep, Izzy Fry, Carrie Hughes, Lucy Jones, Phoebe Anderson. These are all women who've run pretty quick over 3,000. Eloise Walker, Alex Millard, mate. Alex Millard is another name we should definitely mention. She's in good form, but again, like Malarkey, has had a big NCAA season. But I mean, unfortunately, just with Hannah Nuttall's record, outkick Muir indoors, outkick Ines Fitzgerald in the Diamond Leagues, Nuttall's not going to change, is she? With Megan Keith in the race, though,
depends.
Will she let it go slow? And I always stand by British Champs is such a funny race because if you're just a little off it, what feels good in a Diamond League, like when these women compare how they felt when they ran their lifetime best to, low 40s in a Diamond League, running 15 minutes in Alexander Stadium at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday is going to feel pretty hard.
You're bang on there. And
you've got all the tension, you've got so much stress going into it, you've already run your time and you know how much it means. And so with Megan Keith in there, you're like, this race could be fast. Megan Keith could stretch this one out and just hit the front. And when it comes to kicks,
Melissa Courtney doesn't matter as well, right? Megan Keith, she's going to go in the 10K. That's her best event. Yeah. She's locked that in. She can do whatever she needs to do to prepare for the world champs in this race. So it's not even that she just goes quick necessarily. She could just drop a ridiculous K in there at K3, K2, whatever it is. She could start putting in some quick laps. She can start grinding it. And that's what I'd like to see, right? I'd like to see someone not just think, okay, well, I'm not going to leave it to a kick. I'm going to make it fast and actually do something different. And maybe actually like put some different types of laps in there, throughout the race. And that's what I'd love to see, to make this a bit of a spectacle.
Of course we would, mate. Of course we would. But I think Melissa Courtney Bryant's an interesting one. Hasn't raced for since early June, May time. Obviously had a sort of flash in the pan indoor season, like ran some incredible times, etc., and then had to shut it down. And it's kind of been similar outdoors for Melissa Courtney. But when she's hot, and she, I probably would back her to outkick even Nuttall and Ines if Courtney is fully fit. I don't think she is fully fit, hence why we haven't seen her race.
Yeah, I think the thing with Melissa Courtney Bryant, what impressed me was that she, like you say, she ran that ridiculous time, and then we thought she was down and out. And then she still came back and medaled at European indoors, right? It's not like it was then done and she's done. And you think with this could be the same, right? She's not been racing much, but
she's in the same format.
She's just the caliber of athlete that could come out and she's not going to want it to go quick though. She's going to want to just bide her time and
definitely,
and then back herself. But the thing is, right, if Keith goes quick, Innes Fitzgerald will happily go and help her out and make it hard as well. So it's not even like it's just one person
True.
running off the front. Like if you got someone like Innes in there, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if Innes decides to make it a bit tasty, to be honest.
Yeah. I think in the back of Corny Bryant, Fitzgerald and Nuttall's minds, the fact that Keith will probably just do the 10 at the champs.
Yeah, of course they know that, but
to be fair, you can't say that for certain. Because the fact that Keith is lining up in this race, low-key suggests he actually wants to do the 5K at World Champs.
and it's the easiest double, if you like. It's the one that makes
Because of the time, time in between.
Yeah. And like the training requirement is less of a distinction.
Yeah, she would train for the 10 and
Yeah, whereas the 8 and the
5.
15, or the 15 and the 5, you have to basically sacrifice some bits in your build up.
Yeah.
You have to either pick one or the other, or you need to be 98% at both. I'd argue, you can't be. Whereas a 5 and a 10, I think you can be 100% for both.
Mate, they used to have heats and final for the 10, obviously, right? But they used to have semi-finals for the 5,000 meters in Olympic Games.
Yeah, they should bring it back. They should bring it back.
Heat semis at final for the 5K. They used to have that until about the 80s, 90s. And then obviously they still kept the 10K heats for a while. That is actually mad. Like, that
Hey, do you know what we feel about the 10K heats? We just wouldn't have so many athletes getting lapped in the final.
Mate, they don't get lapped anymore. The standard's fucking 27 minutes. No one's getting lapped in the 10K. They used to get lapped when the standard was like 28 minutes. But the standard's so hard now. No one's getting lapped.
Nah, they still are, mate. I'm sure they are.
Mate, I think the last person I saw get lapped in a 10,000 meter final was, I want to say it was Pat Tiernan in Doha.
Yeah, I was literally thinking of Pat Tiernan myself, yeah.
Pat Tiernan. I think it was Pat Tiernan in Doha 2019. Or maybe 2017 London.
I think he's done one more recently than that.
Do you reckon it was 2017 London? Pat Tiernan gets lapped by Farah and Co. I think it's 2019.
No.
He's just having a stinker in 2019.
Tiernan's got lapped quite recently, mate. Listen.
Oh, mate, we're going so niche.
Yeah.
We're talking about Pat Tiernan. Loads of people probably don't even know who he is.
Hey, go watch him win the NCAA cross if you're bored.
Do you remember in 2015 when the first edition of like Sweat Elite was an app where people recorded their training? It was basically like a Strava.
Yeah, do you not remember I tried to do a mini version of Pat Tiernan's training?
Yeah, the Aussie boys were the only people at this point who were on Sweat Elite, and it was like Pat Tiernan and what was the other guy? What was his name? The 1500 guy.
Geordie Williams. Yeah,
Geordie Williams. Yeah, Villanova when he won Penn Relays against Ches. And these guys were on it. Tiernan would all his training was on there. It was like the year he won NCAA cross.
Yeah, and I worked out like how to do like 60% of what Pat Tiernan did leading into his NCAA cross win. Got myself injured in 6 weeks. Yeah, so, don't do that, kids.
60% of what Pat Tiernan was doing was still 80 mile a week, mate.
Was too much, yeah. Just the sessions. Anyway, mate, are you back in that women's 5, mate? I'm gonna back Megan Keith, mate.
What? Are you mental?
Yep. I think she's gonna kick from a long way out, and I don't think they're gonna have had an easy a ride as they would have done, and I just don't think they're gonna be ready for it. There you go. I've said it.
No, I think it's gonna be. Yeah, I'm just gonna go safe, mate. Hannah Nuttall, she's got a great head-to-head against Innes at the moment, and I think she pulls out a bag again at champs. And Melissa Courtney Bryan, the fact that I just haven't seen much of her at all is a little bit of a concern for me. So, I'm going to go Hannah Nuttall, probably play it safe. But that is a tough one because you could see a world where Fitzgerald. I want Fitzgerald to make the team. I think everyone does. It'd be cool to see her get on that team and get over to the world champs at what still just 19 years of age in the 5,000.
Yeah, I think that is. I agree, mate. Who I'd like to see pick up some pickups.
Right, mate. That's it. British champs next week. Crazy. Well, not much else to say really. We've discussed a few names. We've given our predictions, and hopefully we've educated a few of you to help with your predictions. Enter the prediction contest. Enter the prediction contest. Of course, if you want free money from Sports Shoes, then enter the contest. And next week we'll have a review episode, which will probably only come out Sunday night, Lam, right? We'll probably delay it because there's just going to be, obviously we want to review Sunday's action. We want to get some interviews with athletes So the review episode will probably be, we'll call it a Monday morning jobby. Monday
Yeah,
morning.
if you're lucky, it'll be out Sunday night. Mate, I have just checked as well. Tiernan ran the Olympic Games in 21, finished 19th place, 28:35. I'm pretty sure that would have got lapped.
I remember it. I don't think it was the games. I think I was there, and I was there in 20.
Mate, I've literally just checked, mate. I've just checked. He ran the Olympics in Tokyo.
They got lapped.
What, he ran 28:35, so I'm sure he got lapped.
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he did, mate. I think, look at the winning time in that. I think it was 2019. I remember going to Doha.
Marega ran 27:43.
Yeah, so he didn't get lapped. He was close.
I think that's why I probably remember. He was probably on the home straight.
Right, let's just settle this once and for all. 2019, it was the World Champs in Doha, and he didn't do the 10,000. Oh yeah, he didn't do the 10,000 that year. Must have been 2017. Yeah, I knew I was there. 2017 then. Yeah, World Champs 29-23, finished 22nd in London, but did go on to make the 5,000 meter final, finished 11th. So yeah, I remember Pat Tiernan. I remember 2017 was that Cam Wara? That was Cam Wara at his best.
Mate, those were the days. Michiri and Cam Wara just absolutely going at it.
One of the most underrated world.
We should say we are massive Pat Tiernan fans. By the way, we're not like.
We're just talking about people people getting lapped in the 10. One of the most underrated races in cross country is Michiri and Cam Wara in 2015 at the World Cross in China. It is disgusting. It is what they do in that race, mate. Just throwing it down. Michiri was a boy, actually.
Right, mate. Do you know who does get lapped in the Olympic 10K final?
Who? Chris
Julian
Thompson,
Wanders with 30 meters to go.
I'm just watching it now. In 2021?
2021, yeah. Julian Wanders gets lapped as they're kicking.
Oh,
with about 30 meters to go. So he is in all the shots.
That's peak. Yeah. Tough for Wanders.
Yeah.
The Wonder Boy.
Thank you.
Wait, side news, mate. Before we end, by the way, for those of you interested in the cross country scene, I was on just double checking that selection policy, of course, and then bang, there out of nowhere, the World Cross Country Championship selection policy is out now. Going to be in Tallahassee, Florida on the 10th of January. Look, in short, to summarize, there is no selection race. It's going to be based off of Liverpool, and you're probably going to have to go to the Europeans. Top 12 at Europeans will be automatically selected. If you come top 2 at the trials, potentially automatically selected as well. That's the wording around that is a little bit sort of up in the air, a bit confusing. So there's quite a lot to it. You can also be considered if you don't do any of those races, if you don't do Europeans, if you don't do the cross country, you can be considered if you're a sub 27.50 runner over the 10K, 13.25 over the 5K, or on the women's side, 31.50 over the 10K and inside 15.25 over the 5K, which I think that's
everyone. Basically.
Well, it's not everyone, is it? But that's actually about right, I would say, those sorts of times. However, one thing I would say is, like, for example, a 13.20 runner on the track on cross country, they've got to be in shape. It depends where they ran their 13.20. They've got to be in shape on the country to go deliver. So depending on when they ran that time,
so
because the window is the 1st of May till the 14th of December. And you think, if someone's gone to a sort of Aud gym or something like that in May, June and run a 13.20 and hasn't shown much form since, then, hey, they wouldn't get picked anyway. So it's probably
what you
relevant,
could do, mate, you could go and run the December Boston 5K.
Oh, yeah, the week after.
One after, yeah.
You actually could do that if you wanted to.
So the best thing you could do is just train for that, because I guarantee if you run under 13.10 at Boston in December, well, first of all, you've ticked sign off for the year after anyway.
Yeah.
But if you say you're fit and you're raring to go, they'll pick you off that. They love times, mate.
That would show current form. Hey,
that is way less risky than like I need to make a Liverpool team and then I need to come top 12.
Yes. They're for your autos. Britain said they're going to take 4 in each race, but they do not have to fill the team. So they might not fill all 4 spots. It'll be up to them basically. The mixed relay, if you're interested in that, obviously 3:38 in the 1500 for the men and 4:10 for the women. And then in the 3000, you have just 7:55 and 8:55 are like the loose performance requirements. They're sort of phrased at. So if you haven't boxed off those, they're not really standards, are they? But if you haven't boxed off those times, chances are you're not going to be anywhere near the discussion when it comes to that mixed relay.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, I mean, about 30 men in the country have run inside 3:38 and similar-ish on the women's side. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of people to choose from. So, basically, yeah, if you want to feature at the World Cross, Liverpool is kind of the unofficial trial. And then bearing in mind you make the team, if you don't make the team at Liverpool, you're going to be out the picture anyway. And if you make the team, it'll kind of come down to how well you do at the European Cross.
That's what I mean. If you don't make the team, go to Boston.
If you don't make the team, go to Boston. It's not a bad shout. Yeah. So a maximum of 4 in the under 20 men's and women's as well. Yeah, I do hope they send 4 because, I think that World Cross in January is going to be fantastic. The Americans are going to take it seriously. I think the rest of the world is
as well.
Brilliant course. We've been there. We've run on it. Yeah, it's
brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal.
It's brutal. We better start booking some flights, mate.
Mate, do you reckon Conor Mance is going to go and try and make that team? Obviously, where he you can see Mance and Hicks, mate.
Do you reckon Cooper? Mate, Hicks. This is it. This is Charles Hicks' territory,
and
man.
Cooper Wow.
Yeah.
Cooper wants some redemption after passing away on that.
That's what that course can do to you. But, I think it is probably a good thing they have got some track times to refer to because that course, even though it's in January, it's a very fast, firm circuit. 50% of that course is on like a crushed, compact gravel.
It's like cinder. It's basically a cinder track.
And then 50% is on like a golf course. So like the grass.
The hills are ridiculous.
But the hills are bloody hard. Yeah, but they're like really rolling, sort of sharp, short hills, aren't they? They're not big.
There's one that they use in the NCAA, which is a bigger.
Yeah, it's still only about 200 meters long, but it's steep as hell, and it comes just before like.
I mean, in comparison to like some of the normal
downhill.
kind of like little man-made ups and downs, it's a monster hill in comparison to that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's good, yeah. So I think it is probably worth, and they have got some half marathon times you can consider as well, like 62 minutes for the men and 69 for the women, which again are probably relevant in this case. Yeah, obviously the full selection policy is on the British Athletics website, so go check it out. But that's us.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We hope to see you at British Champs. Get your entries in for the prediction contest. Catch you very soon.